Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening.
As the last echoes of the crash subsided, Marcus unbuckled his safety harness and staggered out of the wreckage. The alien sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the unfamiliar landscape. He surveyed the twisted metal of his ship, his only link to humanity now irrevocably severed. "Not how I planned this day to end," he muttered to himself, taking in the eerie silence of the twilight. The night's chill began to set in, and Marcus knew he needed to find shelter. He collected what supplies he could salvage, a survival kit, a few rations, and his handheld scanner. His first night on an alien planet would be a test of his survival training. As he trekked across the rugged terrain, his scanner beeped intermittently, picking up faint life signs in the vicinity. He followed the signals, hopeful for a water source or perhaps even native flora he could utilize. The land was mostly barren, but a distant glow on the horizon suggested the presence of life. Marcus approached cautiously, using the low-lying shrubs for cover. As he neared, he realized the glow was coming from a cluster of luminescent plants surrounding a natural spring. He knelt by the water, testing its chemistry with his scanner. Safe for consumption, luck was on his side. "Who's there?" A voice suddenly echoed in the dim light. Marcus spun around, his heart racing. Standing before him were three figures, clearly not human, their eyes reflecting the soft light of the luminescent plants. "Easy there," Marcus said, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "I'm not here to cause any trouble, just trying to survive." The tallest of the figures stepped forward. "You speak our language?" she asked, her tone mixed with curiosity and caution. "I have a translator," Marcus replied, tapping his earpiece. "It's picking up your language from your speech." "I'm Lyra," she said after a moment. The others introduced themselves as Nayli and Tora. The three of them were hunters from a nearby tribe, exploring the same signs of life Marcus had been following. "We need to know more about you," Lyra stated, her gaze unwavering. "Are you alone?" "Yes," Marcus replied. "My ship crashed. I was trying to chart this sector when I lost control. I'm just looking for a way to survive here." Nayli, who had been quietly observing the interaction, finally spoke. "You'll need help if you're to last the night. This planet can be unforgiving." Tora, the youngest, looked at Lyra and Nayli before nodding in agreement. "We should take him to the elders. They'll know what to do." Lyra assessed Marcus for a moment longer before nodding slowly. "Follow us. Any sudden moves, and we'll incapacitate you. Understand?" Marcus nodded, relieved yet anxious about the unfolding events. "Understood. Lead the way." As they walked, Marcus tried to keep pace with the alien hunters. "So, what should I know about your planet? Any advice on how to not die in the first 24 hours? Tora chuckled lightly, a sound that surprised Marcus given the tension. "Avoid the night crawlers. They hunt after dark. Stick with us and you'll be fine." Their path wound through dense foliage until lights and the sounds of a settlement began to emerge through the trees. As they approached, Marcus realized he was about to step into a completely unknown world, reliant on the very beings he knew nothing about. Lyra turned to him as they neared the settlement. "Welcome to our home. Let's hope your arrival is a sign of good things to come." Marcus managed a wry smile. From your lips to the universe's ears. Entering the alien village, Marcus felt a mix of fear and awe. This was his new reality, and his journey of survival was just beginning. As Marcus followed Lyra, Nayli, and Tora into the village, the alien architecture unfurled around him like a scene from a dream. Structures made from an unknown bioluminescent material illuminated the pathways, casting a surreal glow on everyone's face. The villagers stopped to stare at the newcomer, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. Upon reaching what appeared to be the center of the village, Lyra guided Marcus to a larger building, its doors adorned with vibrant carvings that told stories Marcus could only guess at. "This is where the elders meet," Lyra explained as she pushed the door open, allowing the warm light from inside to spill out into the night. The interior was simple but elegant, with a long, low table at the center surrounded by cushions. Seated around it were three figures, each exuding an aura of authority. As Marcus entered, guided by Tora, The conversation inside came to a halt. Elders, this is the human who crashed on our lands, Lyra announced formally. His name is Marcus. One of the elders, a tall figure with sharp eyes, nodded. Welcome, Marcus. We are the elders of the Zeltrani. I am Soren, and this is Vara and Kian, he introduced, gesturing to his companions. You have found yourself far from your own kind. Marcus took a cautious step forward. Thank you for allowing me into your village. I mean no harm. I only seek to survive and, hopefully, repair my ship. Kian, the younger of the three, leaned forward with a keen interest. Your technology is unknown to us, and your presence here is unprecedented. What can you tell us about your people and your journey? Marcus considered his words carefully. I come from Earth, a planet several star systems away. I'm an explorer, charting unknown parts of the galaxy. The crash was an accident. I was caught in an asteroid field. Vara, whose face was lined with age and wisdom, spoke softly. Your arrival brings many questions. Our planet is isolated. We rarely encounter outsiders. What do you need from us? First, I need to secure basic necessities to survive. Any help with materials or knowledge about the planet would be greatly appreciated, Marcus replied. Soren exchanged looks with the other elders. We will discuss your requests. For tonight, Lyra, Nayli, and Tora will ensure you are comfortable. As Marcus was led out of the meeting hall by his original escorts, Tora seemed more relaxed. You'll stay with Lyra and me. We'll introduce you to our ways. Marcus followed them to a dwelling nearby. Inside, the atmosphere was warm and inviting. Lyra showed him a place to rest while Tora fetched something to eat. As they ate, Marcus asked, What can you tell me about your culture? What should I know to avoid any misunderstandings? Nayli, joining them after ensuring the village was secure, sat down. We value respect for all living things. Our society is matriarchal. We live in harmony with nature, and we avoid conflicts. You must respect our rules and our ways. I understand, Marcus nodded, grateful for the guidance. Lyra, who had been quietly observing him, finally spoke up. Tomorrow, we will help you gather supplies for your immediate needs. We'll also start teaching you about the flora and fauna here, which ones are safe, and which ones to avoid. Marcus felt a mix of relief and anxiety about the days ahead, but recognized the invaluable opportunity to learn from his hosts. Thank you, Lyra, Nayli, Tora. I hope to learn much from you all. As the night deepened and the conversation dwindled, Marcus lay in his new dwelling, contemplating the strange turn of events. From crash landing on an alien planet to sitting at a table with its inhabitants, his journey had taken an unexpected path, one that he was now eager to follow. The morning after Marcus's arrival brought a clear sky and a busy day ahead. Lyra, along with Tora and Nayli, escorted him around the village to introduce him to various members of the tribe and familiarize him with their way of life. As part of integrating you into our community, you will participate in tonight's full moon ritual, Lyra explained as they walked through the lush fields just outside the village, where several tribe members were harvesting vibrant fruits. It's a significant part of our culture, aligning us with the natural rhythms of our planet. Marcus nodded, intrigued. What does the ritual involve? It's a celebration of life and our connection to this planet, Tora chimed in, picking a fruit from the bush and handing it to Marcus. You will see tonight. Every full moon, we gather to renew our bonds with each other and with nature. Their tour continued to a large clearing where a group of Zeltrani youths were practicing combat moves. Nayli led Marcus over to them. This is our training ground. While we strive for peace, we also need to defend ourselves from wildlife and other dangers, Nayli said, introducing Marcus to the trainer, a robust Zeltrani named Kale. Kale assessed Marcus with a friendly nod. Would you like to learn some basic defensive moves? He offered. Marcus, eager to engage and learn, agreed. Kale showed him a series of maneuvers, explaining their purpose and the importance of each movement. The physical activity helped Marcus relax and start to feel more a part of the community. As the day wore on, Marcus learned about the Zeltrani's agricultural techniques, their herbal medicines, and their art, all under the watchful eyes of Lyra, Tora, and Nayli. Each interaction made him more aware of the complexity and depth of the Zeltrani culture. As dusk approached, preparations for the evening's ritual began. The village was abuzz with activity. Decorations adorned every home, and the aroma of cooking food filled the air. Marcus was given a traditional garment to wear, a simple, elegant robe that shimmered slightly in the fading light. The ritual will begin soon. Let's head to the ceremonial site, Lyra said, as they dressed in similar garments. The site was a short walk from the village, in a clearing surrounded by ancient trees. A large circle had been drawn on the ground, with intricate patterns that glowed under the rising moon. The entire tribe was gathering, their faces illuminated by firelight from torches placed around the perimeter. Soren, Vara, and Kian joined them, each wearing ceremonial robes that signified their status as elders. Soren stepped forward, raising his hands to signal the beginning of the ritual. "We gather tonight under the light of the full moon to welcome a new friend," Soren began, his voice strong and clear. "Marcus has come to us from afar, and tonight, he joins us in our celebration of life." The tribe echoed a warm welcome, and Marcus felt a surge of gratitude and a sense of belonging. The ceremony continued with traditional dances and chants, the tribe moving as one around the circle. Marcus was invited to join, and with some guidance from Torah, he soon found himself moving in rhythm with the others. As the ritual reached its peak, Isla, a prominent member of the tribe, approached Marcus. She led him to the center of the circle, where they were handed a chalice filled with a sweet, fragrant liquid. "Drink," she instructed softly, her eyes locked on his. "This symbolizes your acceptance into our fold." Marcus took a sip, the liquid cool and refreshing. The tribe cheered, and the celebration continued, with more dancing and feasting. Later, as the fire died down and the tribe members began to disperse, Isla stayed behind with Marcus. "You did well tonight," she said. "How do you feel?" "I feel honored," Marcus replied, looking around at the emptying clearing. "Thank you for welcoming me into your community." Isla smiled. "We are glad to have you here. Come, let's return to the village. There is much more for you to learn." Hand in hand, they walked back to the village under the light of the full moon, ready to face whatever challenges and wonders lay ahead. The day following the ritual, Marcus felt an unfamiliar ease as he walked through the village. His participation in the ceremony had clearly shifted the villagers' perception of him. Their nods were friendlier, their smiles more open. Marcus spent the morning with Kale at the training grounds, honing the defensive techniques he had been taught the previous day. Kale, impressed with Marcus's quick learning, introduced more complex moves. "You're picking this up faster than I expected," Kale remarked, wiping sweat from his brow. "It helps to have a good teacher," Marcus replied, grateful for the camaraderie. Later, Marcus joined Lyra and a group of builders at a construction site on the edge of the village. They were expanding a community hall, and Marcus offered to help. Working alongside the Zeltrani, he learned their methods of construction, which relied heavily on natural materials and an intricate knowledge of their environment. As they worked, Lyra explained the significance of the hall. "This is more than just a building. It's a symbol of our community's growth and unity. We gather here for meetings, celebrations, and sometimes just to share stories." "I can see why it's important," Marcus said, placing another timber into the framework. Back home, community centers are the heart of any neighborhood. "Yes, I imagine it's much the same," Lyra mused, hammering a joint into place. "Tell me more about your home, Marcus. What is Earth like?" Marcus paused, thinking of the right words to describe his world. "It's diverse. Mountains, oceans, deserts, forests. But what I miss most are the cities, bustling with people from all walks of life." Lyra listened intently, her curiosity evident. "It sounds beautiful."
And complex.
"It is," Marcus smiled. "Just like here, I guess. Different, but the same in some ways." As the sun began to set, Marcus joined Torah and Nayli for dinner at Lyra's house. The meal was lively, filled with discussions about their respective cultures. Nayli, ever the curious one, asked, "How do you find our food? Our plants are quite different from what you must be used to." Marcus chuckled, taking another bite of the spiced vegetable stew. "It's delicious. I've never tasted anything like it before. You'll have to teach me how to cook it." "We'd be happy to," Torah said. Cooking is another form of sharing. After all, the conversation turned to music, a universal language. Tora brought out an instrument resembling a guitar, strumming softly. The sound was melodic and haunting. Would you like to try? Tora offered, handing the instrument to Marcus. With a bit of guidance, Marcus managed to produce a tune, albeit clumsily. The group laughed and encouraged him, enjoying the exchange of skills and stories. As the evening wound down, Marcus felt a profound sense of connection with his hosts. "Thank you for tonight," he said sincerely. "I've learned so much, not just about your culture, but about kindness." "We're glad to have you with us, Marcus," Lyra replied warmly. "You bring us new perspectives, something we cherish." Marcus retired to his room in Lyra's house, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and elation. As he lay in bed, the events of the past few days replayed in his mind. His crash landing, which had first seemed like a dire misfortune, was proving to be one of the most enriching experiences of his life. Outside, the nocturnal sounds of the alien world hummed softly. Marcus drifted off to sleep, a smile on his lips, eager for the new experiences the following days would bring. The next morning, Marcus was awakened by the early light filtering through the fabric of his window. He stretched, still feeling the warmth of the previous night's camaraderie, and prepared for another day in the Zeltrani village. As he stepped out of the house, he was greeted by the sight of Lyra and Tora discussing something in hushed tones. They both looked up as he approached, their expressions a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Good morning," Marcus said, his curiosity piqued by their serious demeanor. "Marcus, we have something unusual to discuss," Lyra began, motioning for him to join them. "It seems that the ritual from 2 nights ago had some unexpected consequences." Marcus's heart skipped a beat. "What kind of consequences?" Tora took a deep breath before continuing. "Isla and several others who participated in the ritual with human interaction are showing signs of, well, pregnancy. This is quite unexpected and, frankly, unprecedented." Marcus blinked in disbelief. "Pregnancy? But how? Our biologies are so different." "We are as baffled as you are," Lyra admitted. "Our healers and elders are discussing it now. We need to understand what this means for Isla and the others, and for our relations with you." Feeling a responsibility to help, Marcus nodded. "I want to help in any way I can. Should we start by talking to the healers?" "That would be wise," Lyra agreed. They walked together to the healers' quarters, a serene part of the village marked by the scent of medicinal herbs. Inside, they found Isla and the healers in a quiet, contemplative discussion. Isla looked up as they entered, her face calm but with an underlying worry. "Marcus," she greeted, her tone warm despite the circumstances. "Isla, I heard about what's happening," Marcus said gently. "I'm here to help figure this out." Isla nodded. "Thank you. We're all a bit overwhelmed." One of the healers, an elder named Mina, joined the conversation. "We have been reviewing our ancestral texts and found no precedent for this. However, your arrival and subsequent participation in our ritual might have activated something latent within us." Marcus listened intently as Mina explained their theories, none of which could yet be proven. The discussion was interrupted by Kian, who entered hurriedly. "The elders have requested Marcus's presence," Kian informed them. "They believe his ship's technology might offer some insights." Marcus followed Kian to a meeting with the elders, where they discussed the use of his ship's medical scanners to conduct non-invasive tests. "With your permission, I'd like to help conduct these tests," Marcus offered, seeing this as a way to contribute to the tribe's well-being and potentially solve the mystery. "Your assistance is invaluable, Marcus." Soren, the elder, responded with a nod of approval. The rest of the day was spent setting up the necessary equipment at Marcus's crashed ship. With the help of Lyra, Tora, and a few others, they managed to power up the medical suite. Marcus instructed them on how to use the scanner safely. As they worked, the bond between Marcus and the Zeltrani deepened, united by a common goal. By the end of the day, they had successfully scanned Isla and the others, collecting data that would take some time to analyze. Exhausted but hopeful, Marcus and his Zeltrani colleagues returned to the village. Over dinner, they discussed their findings and planned the next steps. "It's amazing how much we can accomplish together," Tora said, looking around at the group. Yes, Marcus agreed, smiling at the faces lit by firelight. Whatever comes from this, we face it together. As the evening ended, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was no longer just a stranded explorer. He was a part of something greater, a shared journey of discovery and mutual support. In the days that followed, the village was abuzz with activity and speculation about the unexpected pregnancies. The data from the medical scans conducted by Marcus and his new Zeltrani colleagues had been compiled, and everyone was eager for answers. Marcus and a small team that included Lyra, Kian, and Mina, the healer, huddled around the makeshift lab they had set up near his crashed ship. They pored over the scan results, comparing them with the Zeltrani medical texts and databases. "Look at this," Marcus pointed out on the screen, showing a peculiar genetic marker. "It appears that human DNA has interacted with something dormant in the Zeltrani genome. It's like a key unlocking a door." Mina, her eyes wide with both concern and fascination, nodded slowly. "Our legends speak of the starborn, ancient ancestors who were said to have celestial origins. Perhaps what was once dormant was meant to awaken with new celestial interaction." Kian, who had been quietly observing the data, chimed in thoughtfully. "This could explain the rapid onset of the pregnancies. The ritual's timing under the full moon, your presence, it all coincided perfectly. But what does this mean for the children?" Lyra asked, her voice tinged with worry. "What kind of life will they lead?" "We need to ensure they are healthy, first and foremost," Marcus replied, his tone reassuring. "Let's focus on providing all the support and care Isla and the others will need." The group agreed, and plans were made to monitor the health of the expectant mothers closely. Over the next few weeks, Marcus worked tirelessly with the healers to adapt his medical equipment for continuous monitoring. Meanwhile, Marcus and Kian spearheaded a series of community meetings to address the villagers' concerns and curiosities about the situation. During one such gathering, Kian addressed the crowd. "We stand before a moment of unprecedented change, but we are not powerless. We will learn, adapt, and ensure the well-being of everyone." Marcus added, "From what we've learned, these children will be a new beginning. Let's welcome them with open hearts and minds." The meetings did much to calm the nerves of the villagers, fostering a sense of unity and purpose. As the weeks passed, Marcus felt more integrated into the community, his role as an outsider diminishing day by day. One afternoon, as Marcus and Kian were examining some of the advanced agricultural tools from Marcus's ship, they discussed their plans for the future. "We could use this technology to improve crop yields," Marcus suggested, showing Kian a soil analysis module. "It's designed to optimize mineral balance and water usage." "That would be invaluable here," Kian replied enthusiastically. "Our farming methods are good, but with your knowledge, we could do so much more." The collaboration led to a project that not only enhanced the village's agriculture but also served as a learning exchange. Marcus shared his scientific knowledge, while the Zeltrani taught him the intricacies of their planting rituals and the use of native herbs. As the project progressed, the bond between Marcus and the community grew stronger. He was no longer just a visitor from another world. He was a vital member of their society, working alongside them towards common goals. One evening, as the sun set, Marcus and Lyra walked back to the village after a long day in the fields. "It's amazing, isn't it?" Lyra remarked. "How much we've accomplished together." "Yes, it is," Marcus agreed, looking around at the thriving fields and the vibrant community. "It feels like I've found a second home." Lyra smiled warmly at him. "You have, Marcus. And together, we'll face whatever comes next." As they reached the village, the sound of laughter and music greeted them. Children ran past, playing in the fading light, a reminder of the life and potential that thrived in this once foreign land. Marcus watched them, his heart full, knowing that the future was bright, as long as they faced it together. As the weeks turned into months, the village adapted to the changes brought about by the unexpected pregnancies. The Zeltrani, with Marcus's help, had set up a special care unit for Isla and the other expectant mothers, using both Zeltrani herbal knowledge and human medical technology to ensure their health and well-being. One morning, Marcus joined Kian and a group of village craftsmen to work on expanding the care unit. The sounds of construction filled the air, a rhythmic backdrop to their collaborative efforts. Kian, hammering alongside Marcus, wiped the sweat from his brow. This expansion will make a big difference. We're expecting quite a few newborns, after all. Marcus nodded, driving a nail into the wooden beam. It's incredible how the village has come together. It makes me think we can handle just about anything. That's the spirit, Kian replied with a grin. It's not just about building structures, it's about building a future. Later that day, Marcus attended a meeting with the elders and other village leaders to discuss the integration of his technology with traditional Zeltrani practices. Soren led the discussion, emphasizing the importance of blending the old with the new. As we prepare for the arrival of the new members of our community, we must be mindful of maintaining balance, Soren said, addressing the group. Marcus has brought us valuable knowledge, but we must integrate it respectfully with our traditions. Marcus spoke up. I completely agree. It's about enhancing and not replacing. I've learned so much from your ways, and I hope my contributions are seen as complementary. Vara, the eldest of the elders, nodded appreciatively. Your respect for our culture has been evident, Marcus. This collaboration could be a model for how we handle external influences in the future. The meeting concluded with plans to hold a series of workshops for the villagers on using the new technologies and integrating them with herbal remedies and other traditional health practices. In the following weeks, Marcus worked closely with Mina, teaching her how to use the medical scanner and other devices. Mina, in turn, taught Marcus about the properties of various local plants. One afternoon, as they cataloged the effects of different herbs, Mina said, "It's a fascinating convergence of knowledge, isn't it? Your science and our traditions?" It really is, Marcus agreed. I think both our worlds are richer for it. As the time for the births drew near, the entire village felt a buzz of anticipation and a bit of anxiety. Marcus noticed Lyra looking particularly thoughtful one evening as they checked on the supplies in the care unit. Everything's going to be okay, Lyra, Marcus reassured her. I know, but it's a big change, Lyra confessed. A new generation that blends two worlds. It's a lot to think about. Marcus understood her feelings. Every big change brings a bit of fear. But I've seen so much openness and adaptability here. These children will be born into a community full of love and curiosity. Lyra smiled, her worries easing. You're right. Thank you, Marcus. The day of the first birth finally arrived, and the village gathered to support Isla. Marcus stayed by her side, alongside Mina and Lyra, as she went through labor. When the child, a healthy baby girl with features reflecting both her Zeltrani and human heritage, was born, the room erupted in cheers. Over the next few days, other mothers also gave birth. Each new arrival was celebrated by the entire village, and Marcus found himself overwhelmed by the joy and unity displayed. As he stood watching one of the celebrations, Kian clapped him on the shoulder. You've done more than just survive here, Marcus. You've helped us grow in ways we never imagined. Marcus looked around at the smiling faces, the children playing, and the new parents proudly showing off their offspring. I think I've grown a lot too, he said, realizing that this village was no longer just a place he was stranded in. It was home. Months later, as the village adapted to the presence of the new hybrid children, Marcus took a moment to reflect on the profound changes both he and the Zeltrani had undergone. He watched as the children, embodying traits from both worlds, played among the luminescent plants, their laughter echoing through the air. Kian approached Marcus, a smile spreading across his face as he watched his own daughter, one of the new children, attempt to catch a fluttering, bioluminescent insect. She's got her mother's eyes and your curiosity for everything, Kian remarked, joining Marcus on the bench. Marcus laughed, his eyes following the little girl's determined antics. She's going to be a handful, that's for sure. How are you feeling about all this? It's incredible, Kian replied, his voice tinged with awe. I never imagined our village would be a blending place of two cultures like this. It's challenging but rewarding. Their conversation was interrupted as Lyra joined them, her nephew toddling beside her. They're growing so fast, she observed, helping the little boy navigate around the bench. They are, Marcus agreed. It seems like just yesterday we were preparing for their arrival. Now, look at them. The trio watched in silence for a moment, taking in the scene of integration and new beginnings. Soren, now walking towards them with Vara, called out, "Marcus, a moment if you would." Excusing himself, Marcus met the elders halfway. "Soren, Vara, what's on your mind?" "We've been discussing the future," Soren began, his tone serious but hopeful. "These children, our village, the changes, we're entering a new era. We think it's time to document our history, this transition, and we want you to help us with that." Marcus was taken aback, honored by the request. "Of course, I'd be happy to help. What did you have in mind?" Vara, always the historian among them, answered, "A collaborative record. Our perspectives and yours. An account of how our societies merged, the challenges, the successes. For future generations." "I think that's a fantastic idea," Marcus replied, his mind already racing with possibilities. "We could start with interviews, collect stories from everyone, especially the parents of the new children." "Exactly," Soren nodded. "We'll need to set up a place for you to work, gather materials, and perhaps some assistance from the village to help you manage this project." "I'll organize that," Marcus said, excited by the project and what it represented. "It's important to capture these stories while they're fresh." Returning to Kian and Lyra, Marcus shared the elders' plan. Both expressed immediate support, offering to help in any way needed. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the village, the community gathered for a communal meal, a tradition that had become more enriched with the diversity of its members. Marcus sat with the elders, discussing the logistics of their new historical project. After the meal, as the fire pit crackled and the stars began to twinkle in the clear night sky, Marcus took a moment to address the gathering. "Tonight, I look around and see faces filled with hope and strength. We've all learned so much from each other. This project will tell the story of our blended community, a story of unexpected beginnings and shared futures." The villagers responded with cheers and applause, eager to share their own parts of this collective journey. Later, as the children fell asleep under the stars and the adults shared stories and songs, Marcus felt a profound connection to these people and this place. The village was no longer just a refuge. It had become a vibrant tapestry woven from threads of two very different cultures, now indistinguishably linked. As the celebration continued into the night, Marcus realized that this, here, with these people and their children, was his home now. They had faced the unknown together and emerged not just unscathed, but stronger and united. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape together.